they attacked again. On April 13, 2025, the Houthi forces launched not one, but two ballistic missiles from deep within Yemen's territory, targeting Israel's military installations. In an instant, air raid sirens blared across Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. These missiles were fast, loud, and lethal. But they weren't just aimed at Israel, they were testing the limits and provoking a much larger bear. Because just offshore, in international waters, a U.S. Navy carrier group was on high alert. And when missiles start flying in a war zone, especially those launched by Iranian-backed militants, the U.S. doesn't sit idle. They would respond with force. So what really happened after those missiles were launched? And how did this nearly ignite something far more significant? The Houthis didn't just fire a missile. They were sending a message. At exactly 3:41 a.m. local time, two ballistic missiles traced an arc across the early morning sky, launched from militant-controlled territory in northwestern Yemen. Intelligence sources revealed their intended targets were Israeli military facilities, potentially near Tel Aviv or in the outskirts of Beersheba. However, they never reached their destinations. One missile was intercepted mid-flight by Israel's air defense systems. The second missile disintegrated over the southern West Bank, scattering metal debris over Hebron. Fortunately, no casualties were reported. The timing was far from coincidental. The attack occurred just hours after a joint U.S.-Israeli intelligence briefing that warned of Iran's escalating activities through proxy networks, including the relocation of Houthi missile stockpiles to Sada and Hudaydah. For years, the Houthis have claimed they're waging a defensive war against Saudi and Israeli influence. But their capabilities tell a different story. These aren't homemade rockets, they're Iranian-supplied ballistic missiles. Consider the Birkin 2H, a solid-fuel monster with a 1,000-kilometer range capable of carrying a half-ton warhead designed to spread chaos far beyond Yemen's borders. And this wasn't their first test. In late 2021, they launched similar missiles toward Riyadh. By the end of 2023, the UAE was their target. But attacking Israel? That's an entirely new level of escalation. While Israel scrambled jets and launched interceptor missiles just 400 nautical miles away, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower carrier group patrolled the Red Sea. Multiple destroyers, including USS Gravely and USS Laboon, had tracked the launches from the beginning but didn't intervene simply because this wasn't their airspace. In recent years, the Houthis have demonstrated increasing aggression, attacking commercial vessels, launching strikes against Saudi oil facilities, and testing drones against U.S. destroyers. They've evolved far beyond a local militia, transforming into a destabilizing force with sophisticated long-range capabilities and unwavering determination. While this particular attack may not have resulted in casualties, it demonstrates the Houthis' growing ambition to strike deeper, farther, and with unprecedented precision. This evolution makes them more dangerous than ever before. The critical question emerges: what are the implications when an insurgent group launches strategic missiles in a volatile region patrolled by the world's most powerful navy? In January, the Houthis launched waves of drones and anti-ship missiles at international vessel groups in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. This incident triggered a direct U.S. retaliation through Tomahawk missile strikes targeting radar stations, launch pads, and weapons depots across Houthi-controlled territory. Since then, U.S. vessels have maintained an almost continuous combat-ready posture. Therefore, on April 13th, the heightened alert status came as no surprise. What differed was the missile's intended destination. Missiles targeting Israel, particularly those launched from Yemen, signaled a serious regional escalation. And when you command an aircraft carrier loaded with planes, hundreds of guided missiles, and over 5,000 sailors, anyone daring to challenge you is essentially signing their own death warrant. Here's how this supercarrier operates. The Aegis combat system, the digital brain of the Navy's most advanced destroyers, continuously scans trajectory data 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Simultaneously, An E-2D Hawkeye aircraft maintains constant airborne surveillance, relaying intelligence information to the battle group. Air control operations are transferred to the combat command centers aboard the Eisenhower, where personnel coordinate air patrols, adjust flight schedules, and deploy interceptor-capable fighter aircraft such as the F/A-18E Super Hornet. But the big question remains: will the U.S. launch a full-scale counteroffensive? After years of Houthi threats and numerous attacks on commercial and military targets in the Red Sea, it's evident that the U.S. cannot afford to let these provocations go unanswered. According to military analysts and satellite imagery, 2 B-1B Lancer bombers were quietly deployed from Diego Garcia. That same night, CENTCOM confirmed an airstrike on a Houthi radar station believed to have played a crucial role in recent missile launches. The operation was executed with surgical precision, no civilian casualties, no advance warnings, just one precisely guided missile and a thunderous explosion that obliterated everything in its path. However, this was merely the opening act. Within 48 hours, the U.S. launched a coordinated multi-target assault on Houthi military infrastructure. The operation targeted suspected missile storage facilities, command and control centers, and air defense systems near Hodeidah. Local sources provided imagery showing multiple secondary explosions following the initial missile strikes, indicating the complete destruction of what were likely Houthi ammunition depots or fuel storage facilities. The precision and scale of these strikes demonstrated the U.S. military's capability to deliver a swift and decisive response while minimizing collateral damage. Cruise missiles, likely Tomahawks launched from destroyers in the Red Sea, struck with terrifying precision. Unlike traditional artillery or airstrikes, these GPS-guided weapons flew low, hugging the terrain beneath radar coverage until impacting their targets. By the time you hear them coming, it's already too late for any interception. Simultaneously, naval electronic warfare teams likely jammed Houthi radar systems, disrupting their ability to coordinate any counteroffensive. In the 72 hours following the U.S. response, Houthi media channels fell silent. There were no victory videos, no defiant declarations, only silence and humiliation. This wasn't merely retaliation. It was a statement, a message delivered not just to the Houthis but to their backers in Tehran. The message was clear: if you escalate, we will respond swiftly, strategically, and without hesitation. It's crucial to note that this wasn't an act of war. Rather, it was a demonstration of power and dominance. The U.S. didn't level Sana'a or carpet bomb rebel-controlled territories. Instead, they executed calculated strikes on specific military targets, just enough to send a message, but not enough to trigger a full-scale war. This is the art of controlled deterrence. But this raises a larger question. What's really unfolding here? Why would the Houthis, a rebel group primarily focused on Yemen's internal conflict, risk provoking a global naval superpower? The answer, as is often the case in this region, is more complex than it appears on the surface. Security analysts suggest these attacks aren't merely about Israel or Yemen. They're part of Iran's broader strategy to pressure regional adversaries and gauge Western responses to such provocations. The Houthis, armed and trained by Iran, have become pawns in a larger geopolitical game. Their actions in the Red Sea serve multiple purposes: demonstrating Iran's reach beyond its borders, testing Western resolve, and creating pressure points that can be leveraged in broader regional negotiations. And this is what makes the situation particularly dangerous. When you have proxy forces equipped with advanced weaponry, operating in an already volatile region where major military powers are present, even minor incidents can rapidly escalate into a much larger crisis. At this moment, the situation has calmed down, at least temporarily. The Houthis have suspended their missile attacks. American vessels maintain their deterrent presence, and Israel continues to strengthen its missile defense systems. Yet the tension remains palpable, like a slow-burning fuse gradually inching toward its destination. Because everyone understands this isn't the end. It's merely one act in a much longer drama. And the next time missiles take flight, things could be dramatically different. Because in the world of proxy warfare and asymmetric conflict, the line between deterrence and escalation can be as thin as a thread. Meanwhile, the sailors aboard the USS Eisenhower and its escort vessels continue their mission with unwavering dedication. They maintain constant vigilance, staying prepared to engage at a moment's notice. This is their duty to uphold global order through their presence and readiness. In a region where peace hangs by a thread, their presence serves as the critical barrier preventing small sparks from erupting into major conflagrations. As we conclude today's coverage, we hope this content has provided you with valuable insights into these complex developments. If you found this information enlightening, please show your support by clicking the like button and subscribing to our channel to stay updated with future compelling content. We greatly value your perspective, so please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to bringing you more critical updates at this same time tomorrow.